You won't believe the drama that unfolded behind the scenes. Let me tell you, what seemed like a simple love story between Martell Holt and Sheree Whitfield turned into a shocking tale of manipulation, betrayal, and a mastermind plan that no one saw coming. At first, everyone thought Martell and Sheree's relationship was just another celebrity romance, two successful people moving on after heartbreak. But here's the shocking part. This was never about love. It was a carefully planned game, and the person pulling all the strings was none other than Leticia Scott. From the beginning, Martell and Sheree looked like the perfect couple. They were seen together at events, smiling for the cameras, giving interviews, and looking every bit like two people deeply in love. Fans couldn't get enough of them, but behind those public moments, there was someone watching everything closely, Leticia. And she wasn't just watching, she was making moves. Destiny took an unexpected turn when Leticia realized she could use this situation for her own advantage. At first, Leticia acted like she wasn't bothered by Martell's new relationship. But what makes this story different is how deeply she was involved. While everyone else was focused on Martell and Sheree's chemistry, Leticia was working in the shadows, planting seeds of doubt and controlling the narrative without anyone noticing. She had a plan, and it was bigger than just breaking up Martell and Sheree. She wanted something more: revenge, control, and the chance to change the game in her favor. The craziest part, Leticia played her role so perfectly that no one suspected what she was doing. She pretended to be unaffected, but she was carefully setting up every move. She knew Sheree's weaknesses and used them to make sure Sheree would fall right into her trap. While Sheree thought she was stepping into a happy relationship, she was actually walking straight into Leticia's game. And the worst part, she had no idea. This is where it gets interesting. Leticia's plan wasn't just about breaking up Martell and Sheree. She wanted to make sure that when things fell apart, Sheree would be the one to take the blame. Every conversation, every rumor, and every small misunderstanding was part of a bigger scheme. But what Leticia didn't know was that her own plan would backfire in a way she never expected. She thought she was in control, but in reality, she was creating a mess so big that even she wouldn't be able to clean it up. But here's the shocking part. Leticia thought she had everything under control, but the more she pulled the strings, the more tangled the situation became. She had set everything in motion so smoothly that no one even questioned her involvement. Every little issue between Martell and Sheree seemed natural, like typical relationship drama, but in reality, Leticia was behind it all. She had carefully placed doubts in Sheree's mind, making her question Martell's loyalty and intentions. At the same time, she played on Martell's frustration, making him feel like Sheree wasn't fully committed. Slowly, without either of them realizing it, she was pulling them apart. This is where it gets interesting. Sheree started noticing little things that didn't add up. She heard whispers about Martell meeting other women, about secret conversations, and about things he was supposedly saying behind her back. But what she didn't know was that many of these rumors were planted by Leticia herself. The craziest part? She did it so smoothly that even Martell had no idea where these stories were coming from. He found himself constantly defending himself, trying to prove his loyalty, while Sheree's trust in him started to fade. But Leticia didn't stop there. She knew that if she really wanted her plan to work, she had to make sure Sheree was pushed to the edge. So she played her next move, a private conversation that changed everything. She approached Sheree as a concerned friend, pretending to offer advice while subtly feeding her more doubts about Martell. She made it seem like she was on Sheree's side, warning her about things that she heard from other people. And just like that, Sheree started to believe that maybe Leticia was right. Destiny took an unexpected turn when Sheree finally confronted Martell. The tension had been building up for weeks, and Leticia's manipulations had done their job. Sheree demanded the truth, asking Martell about the rumors, the women, and his true intentions. Martell, confused and frustrated, couldn't understand where all of this was coming from. He tried to reassure her, but the damage had already been done. The trust between them had been broken, and Leticia stood back, watching everything unfold exactly how she had planned. But here's the twist. Leticia thought she was in full control, but she didn't realize that the truth always finds a way to come out. Her plan was working perfectly, but something was about to happen that she never expected. And when it did, everything she had built started to crumble before her eyes. The craziest part, Leticia was so confident in her plan that she never once thought it could backfire. She had spent months planting doubts, whispering rumors, and setting traps, and everything had been going exactly as she wanted. But what makes this story different is how quickly the tables turned. While Leticia thought she was in control, she had no idea that someone else had started to piece everything together. Someone who had been watching closely, noticing the little details that didn't add up. And that person was Martell. At first, Martell was too distracted by his problems with Sheree to realize what was happening. He thought the tension between them was just part of a normal relationship. But then strange things started to happen. Conversations that were supposed to be private somehow became public. Arguments that should have stayed between him and Sheree suddenly became hot topics among their friends. He knew something wasn't right, but he couldn't figure out who was behind it until he started noticing a pattern. This is where it gets interesting. Every time something went wrong, Leticia was always nearby. She always had something to say, a comment to make, or a piece of advice to offer. It was subtle, almost unnoticeable, but once Martell started paying attention, he saw it clearly. She wasn't just an innocent bystander. She was orchestrating the entire thing. Destiny took an unexpected turn when Martell decided to test his theory. He purposely shared false information about his relationship with Sheree, something no one else knew, and within days, it spread like wildfire. The only person he had mentioned it to? Leticia. But here's the shocking part. Leticia still had no idea that Martell was onto her. She kept pushing forward with her plan, thinking she was leading everyone exactly where she wanted them to go. Meanwhile, Martell was silently gathering proof, watching her every move, and waiting for the perfect moment to expose her. Leticia had spent so much time controlling the situation that she never even considered that someone else might be playing the game better than her. The moment of truth was coming, and Leticia had no clue that the trap she had set for Sheree was about to turn against her. Martell wasn't just going to sit back and let himself be manipulated. He had figured out the truth, and now he was ready to take back control. But what he didn't know was that Leticia had one more move left to play, one final trick that could change everything. But here's the shocking part. Just when Martell thought he had the upper hand, Leticia made a move that no one saw coming. She had spent months weaving her web, carefully controlling every piece of the puzzle, but the moment she felt the walls closing in, she did what she did best. She twisted the narrative to save herself. She knew that if Martell had proof against her, she had to act fast before he could expose her. And that's exactly what she did. The craziest part? Leticia flipped the script so smoothly that for a moment it almost worked. Instead of sitting back and waiting for Martell to confront her, she went on the attack first. She started spreading her own version of the story, making it seem like Martell was the real manipulator all along. She told people that he had been playing both sides, feeding different stories to different people just to create chaos. And because Martell already had a history of drama, people were quick to believe it. This is where it gets interesting. Martell had worked so hard to uncover the truth, but suddenly he was the one being questioned. Leticia played the victim perfectly, pretending that she had only ever been trying to help, that she had been caught in the middle of something bigger than her. She even convinced some of their mutual friends that Martell was trying to ruin her reputation out of jealousy. And just like that, the game shifted again. Destiny took an unexpected turn when Sheree, who had been hurt and confused for so long, started to doubt everything. She had finally been seeing the truth about Leticia, but now she wasn't sure who to believe. Martell had told her one thing, Leticia was saying another, and she was stuck in the middle of it all. She knew someone was lying, but was it Martell, the man she had started to fall for? Or was it Leticia, the woman who had been whispering in her ear from the beginning? But here's the twist. Leticia thought she had escaped, but what she didn't realize was that Martell wasn't done yet. He knew she had turned the story against him, but he wasn't about to let her win that easily. He had one final card to play, something that would prove once and for all who had really been controlling everything from the start. And when he played it, there would be no way for Leticia to talk her way out of it. But here's the shocking part. Martell had been holding on to something that Leticia never expected. While she was busy flipping the script and making herself look like the victim, Martell had quietly been gathering undeniable proof. He had screenshots, voice recordings, and even witnesses who had seen Leticia's manipulations firsthand. And this time, there was no way she could twist the truth. The craziest part, Martell knew that if he wanted to expose Leticia, he had to do it in a way that left no room for doubt. He waited for the perfect moment, a public setting where Leticia wouldn't be able to deny anything or talk her way out of it. And when the moment came, he didn't hold back. In front of everyone, he laid out the truth piece by piece. The rumors, the manipulation, the lies. Everything was out in the open. Leticia's carefully crafted plan, the one she thought was foolproof, was now crumbling right before her eyes. This is where it gets interesting. At first, Leticia tried to deny it. She laughed it off, called Martell bitter, and claimed he was just trying to save himself. But then, one by one, the receipts started coming out. Messages she had sent, conversations she thought were private, little details that proved she had been behind it all. The room fell silent as everyone realized the truth. Leticia wasn't a victim. She was the mastermind. Destiny took an unexpected turn when Sheree finally saw Leticia for who she really was. After months of being played, she was now looking at the woman who had been manipulating her from the start. The anger, the betrayal, it all hit her at once, and this time there was no coming back from it. Leticia had spent so much time controlling everyone else's fate, but now she was the one standing alone, exposed, and humiliated. But here's the twist. Leticia may have lost control, but she wasn't the type to go down quietly. Just when it seemed like the drama was over, she did something that left everyone speechless. Instead of apologizing, instead of owning up to her actions, she made a final move so shocking that it changed everything once again. And this time, the fallout would be bigger than anything that had come before.